Go ahead and call the meeting to order at 12:03 for the Plover Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. I want to welcome everybody that's here joining us. I guess the first thing I'll do is ask everybody to review the minutes from the inaugural meeting for this commission. And if you have any questions or changes, please note those. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve these.
Also move.
Josh, the second?
Second, yeah.
Okay, all right. Any other discussion on them? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Ross, you are handling minutes for this meeting, is that correct? Okay. At this time then, I guess I'd like to open the floor to any persons wishing to address the commission, whether it be our guests or whatever it may be. Is there anything from anyone?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to probably what's our most important topic right at the moment, which is addressing our executive director position. So we've been fortunate enough to receive some very qualified and strong applicants for this position over the last several weeks. Ross has accumulated a list here that you have in your hands, and also you should have all received a zip drive that has the actual applications on that zip drive so that you can review those. If you, I think at this point, you know, in the interest of moving forward and with the quality of applicants that we have, we need to look at moving forward from this meeting with the interview process and I think closing applications. I guess I'm looking for anybody's input on that and how we want to move forward. And I think it's important to me, you know, on 40 applicants, is that roughly where we're at? 37? Okay.
That was just my, I think, I can double check. What do you have on there, 40?
I thought I had 30.
Oh, no, there's, I have 37, and I think there were 3 that were rejected, so I think.
I got 26 on here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
there's-
we're way over
Okay,
that.
so I must have missed an email somewhere.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I think
we'll
we're
get that
at
updated.
37 as of 8:30 this morning, so, and it was advertised to close today at noon. So it should be closed right now, so I can,
I did not realize that, so that's good.
yeah, so I can, yeah, because I wanted it to be closed before this meeting, so we wouldn't have to
Yep.
rethink it.
Yep.
So I can go back and confirm what you have then, Ross, but there were 3 that were automatically rejected by them.
We have
Because they either failed the assessments or whatever, but there were 3 that were rejected, and there wasn't one, I think there was 1 withdrawal.
Yep, I did see that.
But I'll compare the list and go from there. And I'm certainly can make some recommendations if you'd like, Chris, or.
Yeah, and I think what we can do is, so that everybody has that, I can collect the zip drives back if you guys would like. We can get those updated and then we'll get those distributed.
Is
back.
this one that has 30 on
That has, this list is here, I'm assuming. So we'll get those corrected and then we'll get those distributed back to the committee.
Okay.
My thoughts are, if it's acceptable to the committee in the process of trying not to overcomplicate this, is I'd maybe like to work with Steve Kuntz, because this position is going to be a village hire and then a contract by this committee, to cut the list to 10 interviewable applicants, and then I think we can decide now how we want to handle that. And obviously, Dan, in your position, or Tom, you guys have had a lot of experience in this, especially with a large number of applicants, but then maybe we start a stronger interview process from there. But you know, we can figure out, I think on qualifications and assessment, you know, we can probably put together a heck of a list of 10 people to interview for this position. So I'll take your thoughts now on that.
And as you're thinking about it, if I may, I could make a recommendation to you that what's worked for us in the past is to, you as a commission, assign 2 people, and I would recommend, Chris and Steve Kuntz, to have the authority to review all the applicants, and you'll have copies of them and we'll see them, but let them review the applicants and bring back 10 to you based on them. You still can then reject or, turn them back or whatever, reject or accept them when they bring them back to you. But at least that streamlines the process. I would say the Indeed, that we used Indeed for the hiring process, it does have assessments, that's not included in what information you have. Those assessments show some people very proficient, expert, and others only marginal or familiar. So it allows them to scan through the one place that has all that information. And then also what it does is allows any communication or additional questions they have to be a portal that can track all communications and keeps everything equal and fair. And they can operate that with here, Steve can operate that with you, Chris, and just make sure nobody falls through the cracks and everybody's given fair consideration. But because there are some such outstanding applicants, and I've looked at all of them, you're going to be very, very impressed with the quality of candidates that have applied from all over the place. Some local, some far away, and you got some top-notch people, and you're going to be impressed. So this process at least allows you to give Steve and Chris the authority to review them and bring you back 10 that you can then invite to an interview or further consideration process. And then at that time, maybe look at some additional criteria. But right now, at least, you get 10 out of roughly close to 40 people to pick through. If you want to go 10, this is probably an interview process. You could do it a 2-staged interview process where you invite them in, whittle it down to 3, and then maybe do an exercise or do something else in the process to narrow it down from there. But at least get the ball rolling, so for your next meeting the next meeting can be an interview process.
Yeah, and I like the idea of, probably trying to go through the original 10, once we narrow that down, and then the exercise process, I think, is important with this, because this is a type of position where obviously work ethic and attention to detail is going to be important, but you are going to need some personality and the ability to get out and be in front of people and be a positive force. And we're going to need to be able to feel that. And I think those of us that are, whether we're in sales or, in the hospitality industry or whatever it may be, I think we're going to have a good feel for that when we talk to these people. So
one of the things that I noted that, obviously looking at this being a executive director for a tourism visitor bureau is even all the way to the resume creation. I mean, this is a marketing strategy. This are marketing people. I looked at these resumes and thought, wow, these are great ideas here. Wow, these were really good. But that's one of the things you're looking at is in this person is their ability to create marketing materials for self-promotion. So this is outstanding when they come in and present themselves. Every single thing they do, from their application to their cover letter to their presentation, is something that is going to be extremely relevant. So
yeah, one of them submitted a portfolio.
Yeah,
So.
and there'll be more, things for Chris and Steve to look at than just maybe what you even seen, because what you didn't see was the assessment scores and stuff yet.
but we'll still get everybody all the
Yeah.
applicants. And
Yeah.
if for some reason you make some notes and go, boy, I really like these, and you don't see them on that 10, we can discuss that.
And I'd recommend that your communication be only one-on-one, obviously no group emails, no open meeting kind of stuff. So just have your one-on-one communication, maybe with Chris and Steve if you have questions, but certainly don't conduct any meetings outside of this room in groups under the
Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
That's more toward the end of the meeting, but I guess just in the process of bringing it up, obviously we want to move along with this. Okay, I can get with Steve over the course of the next week and a half, but I would entertain that we don't go any more than 2 weeks without getting together again so that we can get some
Yeah.
things moving along here by March.
And you will want to respond to everyone. I have
Yes.
not done that yet. I waited for now, so you want to thank everybody for applying, and we do have that all structured so that they'll get those letters and move forward to a maybe, to a rejection notice.
Okay.
But just to keep it professional, and that is all built in, and we can do that to Indeed. So I guess you would need a motion for someone to authorize you in a second to do that.
Should also move, give Steve and Chris authorization, to get it down to 10,
Up to 10?
up to 10.
Do we want less if we don't feel like there's
Yeah,
10
that's fine.
strong
Yeah.
candidates?
Yeah,
Up
up
to
to,
30.
so
Up to?
you come out with 8, that's on.
I would be surprised if not, but, you know, if it's, there's 8 strong and then it falls off heavily, we'll look at it that way.
That's
All right,
second,
yep.
yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so then we will do that.
When will we get the drives then to?
I will have Ross work on those between today and tomorrow. I will try to make sure everybody has them by the weekend.
And Ross, do you want to come in? I can maybe give you the master, we'll just do it right here if you want.
You're gonna be are you out of town here?
No, I'll be here this weekend.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah, able to, will we come, just drive by and get it when it's ready?
If it's more one of two things, either we could leave them, could we leave them in
Yeah.
envelopes to pick up at the village?
Yeah.
Let's do that, and then everybody had if they're driving by. they
Just
can
come by and get
it.
them from here, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just wrap it up today and have them available.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We do.
Okay, next item is discussion of possible action of the creation of a bank account. Now, obviously, when it comes to receiving tax dollars from the village and from the town, we have to have somewhere to go with those funds. Plus, if there's any additional funds that the town of Plover's Tourism Commission is willing to commit, we have to have somewhere to accept that, or if we have any expenses moving forward. So I guess I wanted to start getting that groundwork laid and where we wanted to open those accounts. And then I'm not quite sure how the village does it, but as far as the town commission, you know, we have 2 signers on every check. And that's typically how we conduct that. So, you know, I would propose, because of ease, and it seems like we've had good luck, we're still currently through Portage County, the town of Plover.
We're trying
Yeah, with the office right here, basically next door to the municipal building and et cetera. I guess for ease, maybe I'm proposing, unless anybody else has a preference as to what bank we would potentially use.
That's not
That's
me.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to, I guess, what would be recommendations for signers on these? Probably, now, we're listed actually right now with just having president, vice president, and secretary. Should we have had a treasurer for this
No.
commission?
Because I think most of it's gonna be by executive director, I would think.
Yeah,
Right.
you're saying, you remember, yeah, you're.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just didn't, because, so that all the funds and everything would be handled by.
Actually, what I think you probably, my recommendation would be, before you're able to open a bank account, you're gonna need to get this not-for-profit established.
We are.
So you,
Yep.
I see that on here, the next
Yep.
thing, but then they're gonna require bylaws and your articles of incorporation.
Yep.
Which you can, depending on how you create that, if you create president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, then obviously you have that.
Okay,
But, the bank will probably require that, and so will probably the IRS. And
Agreed.
again, remember, when you get this executive director hired, one of the visions was that person would do all that for you.
yeah,
So you are still in this little gray area here, yeah, and you certainly could still use the town, our village treasurer and the town, your town treasurer to still just keep things separate for the time, well, you could work with both of them probably for the time being until your executive director gets this all established too. So,
we currently, as I stated previously, there's things that the town is doing to basically absorb and promote both the village and the town right now, or in the area. There's been, I know your hotel was on a post for the town yesterday or the day before, something about swimming pools or something. So there's some things going on there, but the town has already committed its fourth quarter room tax from 2022 to this commission, so that we have that money, which I'm gonna assume will probably be delivered to the town at any day, if it hasn't already. So we have those funds becoming available for us to be able to start marketing from this commission.
can I ask, who
Yeah.
does that, who handles that account for you?
As far as at the town,
No, the commission, your current commission, everything's run through the town treasurer still?
no,
Kathleen does.
the town receives it, and then Kathleen would, they automatically deposit that into our account, and then Kathleen keeps the books and maintains that.
Okay, so if that's the case, why don't you just continue to use this account until your executive director and your articles of incorporation, all that's filed, just authorize if that's acceptable, to just continue to use that, and then could be reimbursed or could be managed appropriately when you have your own account established as this group. Things could be, then balanced out. You just have to be careful of your bookkeeping and all that. Is that difficult? Is that a problem? At least for that, you're only needing it for probably a couple months, so
Yeah.
you're not probably gonna have a lot of expenses or anything that's gonna be too problematic. You're still a government entity. Well, you're a tourism commission with an account
Right,
through the town of Plover, and within a few months, you're going to have your Plover area Convention Visitors Bureau account up and running, but you're gonna need your articles and all that first.
and I think if we're talking timetable here, you know, if we get together in 2 weeks to narrow these down, we go through the interview process, so we're talking hopefully by the end of March. Maybe we have someone hired by March 15th, and if they only give a common 2-week notice and not something longer, I mean, at best, we're probably looking at an April 1st start date.
Yeah, and then you could give that, their first primary order of business is to create that. And so I think that if you had an April 1st hiring, by May 1st, hopefully you could have all of that done, and now you're ready to rock and roll by the middle of May.
Thoughts on that?
Most of my meetings in March are gonna have to be, web.
Okay.
I'm gone the month of March.
All right, we'll try to have some of the things taken care of with the executive director prior to that. Okay, so with all of that being said, so we can table that process then. I at least wanted to bring it up and talk about it because we didn't have any way, but I mean, those are all valid points, Dan, and obviously good reasons to table that to further meetings.
And if there is any money, any transactions or expenses that are in question, obviously just keep that separate, but also reach out to Steve. And we will do the same, the village will do the same on, you know, like, for example, we are the lawyer bill for the creation of all this stuff, you know, that
Yep.
thing is, we're just tracking that separately, and everybody will make things, you know,
Yep.
correct when we get this account and entity structured properly.
Okay. All right, good enough. So we'll move on to item 6, which Dan had already mentioned, the creation of a nonprofit. So as I start looking into this, some things were not very clear as to whether this would be a 501(c) entity or it would be something different. And I'm kind of gathering it would be something a little bit different than the 3C. So I guess my question for the committee is today, I would like to get some legal advice on exactly how we should set that up. We've done everything right and made sure everything was right to this point. I don't want to have a hiccup because we go through the motions here and get this set up. So I guess I'm asking if whether the village would allow us to do that and then put it on our bill per se.
We already have,
Oh,
and I already have that, I think have that information. I don't recall, that's not a 501(c), it's a 501 something else. I just don't recall, but I already have that information,
Oh,
and
okay.
so
All right.
it shouldn't be a problem.
okay, all right, then.
So, already paid for it, or at least I just
Oh, okay.
authorized it will be paid.
So
today.
can I just address that with you then, see if I
Yep.
can get that information from you and, all right.
At least for the next 7 days you can.
Yeah, understood. I'll make it quick. Okay, good enough.
Well, do we still need them to draft articles of incorporation, or are we gonna have the executive director?
They're actually prepared to do it, but we were waiting for that executive director, because that was like that catalyst to do it. So, yes, you could certainly use the same, if anything, since you're discussing the update is to authorize the attorneys of Will Riley. That's who we use and who has been the main consultant for us. Dietrich and his staff to represent the commission and then draw those, could work with the executive director to draft them up.
Do we want to wait that long? That was, I guess, some of the discussion at the last meeting. Do you want to wait that long to do all that? Because you're.
No, you could, I'd be happy to make a phone call and get the ball rolling with that. And they're already kind of just sitting on it right now.
Yeah, and I guess I just kind of have the feeling we'd like to get that submitted because typically you're looking at about, maybe it's different for something like this, but your typical nonprofit application is about 3 months with the state. And so, we'd be potentially waiting till June, July, once we get an executive director, if we wait till then to apply for this. So I think I'd rather try to move forward with that a little bit sooner so we get that process in
It's kind
place.
of a relatively simple process, it's pretty much boilerplate.
It is, it's not too tough, but realistically, we're gonna have room tax coming potentially from the village and the town, mid to early May. So it'd be great if we were capable of having things in place by then.
So how about you do authorize the village administrator of Plover to work with the attorneys to create this? To start the article, to start the formation of the non-for-profit.
Okay.
And then
Can I make a
you
motion,
can just
Mr.
use
Chair?
that title. You'll need to make that motion, and you can do that under the number 6. It says update, creation of nonprofit. So we're probably,
So I guess I'd like to make I can make a motion as chair. Can I make this committee? I don't know
Not normal, but it's.
Is it? Well, does anybody else want to make a motion on that then? For authorization?
I
Yeah,
can't make the motion.
I mean, I make a motion to have Dan take, or the village administrator Plover take care of the legal items that has to do with formation.
At least starting it, and then we'll hand it all over to
Yeah.
the executive director upon their hiring.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right.
Opposed?
You're working me to the wire here, guys. And,
That's what you get.
Gotta get every bit of value we can right up to the last minute, buddy. Okay. Number 7, I should have checked the date earlier. I did shoot Jessica, who handles the social media for the town. She's been doing a great job of spreading out. I know there was a big posting for the curling club this morning. I know all of the hotels in the town and village were on a post regarding basically trying to enjoy some swimming during the cold temperatures. So she's been doing a great job. She's still, I think, struggling with Facebook on allowing them to just transfer our page, which is what we wanted to do because there's a couple thousand followers there already instead of starting from scratch. I think they're being a little difficult with it. So I unfortunately don't have an update I know she's working on it. The next one, as far as the website, we did approve at the Town of Plover meeting last week to okay for that website. It right now, and I know we have a number of domains. I know Dan, the village has held a number of domains. That currently is the Come Over to Plover website. But that is being changed to the Plover Area Convention and Visitors Bureau as far as title when you go on the website. So it will no longer be just the Town of Plover. So that part is getting switched over. We're still working on the social media standpoint.
And I would recommend, and I regret not having Brenda here now. Brenda, what's her last name? Malski, there we go. Thank you. I wanted to say her former name. It'd probably be beneficial to have her and ask her for maybe attendance in these meetings, at least just from the village standpoint, because she does the Village of Plover social media, and she's very, very active in her social media posts. And I want to also remind us not to forget and not consider the media in all of our releases and stuff as well. So, but having her here and maybe putting her in connection, the village would be more than happy to have her. I'm sorry, don't look over you, Kevin. Tom blocks me. And to have her at least maybe even have your person's number so that there's a little bit of a connection so that we can share.
100%.
That'd be very, very beneficial.
I just talked to Brenda again. We have to somehow figure out what all the businesses and attractions are in the village and bring that forward into our marketing. And I asked Brenda, what's the best way for us to find out? Is there a list? Is there some way to get that information? She didn't have anything per se, but she said it might be good to go to the fire department and they have a list of all the businesses. If that's something, we just need to make sure we touch on everything in our social media presence. So we can, I don't know how the best way to do that is to relate to Jessica on Facebook and Scott on the website.
And I would say that's all something we could do, but again, I'm just kind of remember that executive director and getting ahead of that person.
That's true, at that point that'll happen.
Let's not maybe if we don't.
Maybe maybe we don't have to invest too much.
We're used to working harder than we have a hard time pulling.
You're gonna have somebody that's gonna be working 120% here and doing all these things.
I'm still doing it the old fashioned way.
Yeah, and they'll have access to all that stuff and we'll be able to really be pounding it out. So I would probably advise you not to get ahead of this too much and just let this slow process move. I know it's slow, I know it's kind of but give it another month to get this person on board and then release them. You set the policy, you set the direction, and then let them go.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with any of that. I think I won't call it anxiety, but the angst to get moving is just to make sure that, these businesses in our community know that we're actively moving and maybe there's a couple of things that we can put out on our social media page that updates the process of us hiring the executive director and even if I put words on there, had Jessica just put a posting that that we're very optimistic as we continue, do we want to put out that we're sorting through 40 great applicants to hopefully, or to have an executive director hired very soon. Stay tuned for some great events upcoming in months. Something on those lines on our social media, just to kind of update and say, hey, so, I know Plover's doing their own thing, but we're not hearing much. That's what I'm a little nervous about, okay?
That's fine.
I've been in marketing for 30 years. I'm always, there's gotta be some words, You always want to create that image a little bit. Okay. The URL is not, it's still come over, it's www.comeovertoplover.com
Okay, and that's gonna stay the same.
for now.
Okay.
You'll be able for all the URLs to work as one, to go to the same site, so if you typed in pacdb.com, it'll go to comeovertoplover.com. So you can, easy enough, and like I said, we bought a whole bunch of them, so we have all the flashy ones.
And will we wait with the logo and all that, probably for the executive director?
I think so.
We'll still, we'll have to continue on with it, saying the town of Plover right now.
As much as the town gets overlooked a lot of times, there's so much non-definition between the town and the village. I think most people would just, they see Plover
And
and
they'll
it's Plover.
associate it with that.
So I don't think we're probably hurting a whole lot for the next month and a half.
Right, I agree.
Reports, executive director, you want to help me out with that one,
No.
Mr. Secretary?
I just agree. It's, obviously, we don't have a report yet, but it'll be a standing, agenda item on there, so I just established it with the first agenda.
Okay.
So,
Well, I currently don't have a lot to report, so I'll move on to the next item.
I'll just say one more. I just want to thank everybody, and I'll tell you, the one thing that kept me from holding me back here was this right here. You know, this was, you know, getting through this whole, you know, creating, you know, being part of this and getting you guys together and seeing, I know what's to come for Plover, and you all are just have a fantastic talent and good people. And I know you're gonna hire the right person that's gonna be, you know, top notch as well. And so as I'm afar, watching, everything transpire here and the marketing and stuff, I'll be an extremely loud voice out there for you, believe me, no matter where I travel. I got my Plover Proud shirt that the girls up front bought me and got me, and I'll be wearing that with the first time that this started being talked about. I had created a bunch of logos, and I admit that I put them behind me on purpose on the wall so that when I don't think it was Brandy, I think it was Channel, one of the news TV things, when they were interviewing me, it would show all these different logos of Plover Area Convention Visitors Bureau stuff on the back. Well, they took one of those logos and they put it on a shirt for me. So I'm gonna be wearing my shirt around the country in my travels with Plover Proud and this big new logo that's really nothing, but I'll be spreading the message quite loud for you, and always available to help in any way, shape, or form. So I just want to say thank you for being open to this idea and coming together to move both Plovers in the right direction together.
Well, I appreciate those words, and I tell you what, we had a small conversation at our town commission meeting last week, and there's two people that if I look at this 5 years from now, that I will attribute this to, is Joan Scheider, who she's I don't want to call her a lifetime politician, but she has served a long time on boards and committees and secretary, treasurer, all these things, and she was instrumental in pulling the town of Plover out of the CBB originally and had the vision to do this. And for you guys then to decide, hey, you know what, we think we can handle this as well, and then having the wherewithal to make that decision, you know, I think between you and Joan, we're not sitting here as we are today if you're not willing to make those decisions, and those aren't easy decisions. You know, you gotta wear them when you decide them, because there's a lot of people in the public that are gonna be willing to take a shot at you if they don't agree. And so from here on out, now it carries on us to take.
Successful.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Really well, so, but, thanks.
And every bit of confidence it will. But
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
And what makes
Good.
sense is a good thing.
Anyone have anything else? Otherwise, I think let's set our meeting date. I think I'd just like to go 2 weeks from today if we could. You, Kathleen, will be gone, correct?
No, I'll be, if it's March first, I will be here, I'll be back. I'm back on the
Okay.
28th.
Okay.
Where are
Is
you
that-
going? What warm place are you going to?
I'm not telling you.
I saw the note, so I know where.
Oh, so where she's going.
That's your note.
We've managed to actually open
Oh, you saw the big FL.
I took a guess.
Does that work for you, Josh?
My, I just wanted to
The first?
Yeah, that works.
Mine will be teleconference.
Yeah. All right.
So somehow, somebody smarter than me is gonna figure out how I get onto those things.
Okay, I have not done one here. I have done Zoom calls through our meetings at the town.
Steve will hook it up. Steve will
Okay.
hook it all up for you and have it running for you.
Great, all right. So we'll go March 1st at noon? Okay.